Welcome to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast, a show for women entrepreneurs who want to build, grow, and lead successful businesses and high-performing teams. I'm your host, Lindsay White, leadership coach and people strategy expert, here to bring you unplugged conversations with a variety of amazing guests who share expert advice and real actionable people strategies for your growing business. Ready to get unplugged? Let's jump in. Hey, welcome everyone. This is season 4, now called the Female Founder Unplugged podcast. And I'm super excited to bring you this little teaser episode of the show. We have been on the air for over 3 years. We've done over 150 episodes of the show, formerly called Female Founder Friday. And we have been ranked amongst the top podcasts in the world. And that is super exciting to me. But what we've decided to do for this season of the show is actually bring in some unplugged conversations. This is going to allow us the opportunity to bring you more experts, have deeper chats, and really dig into the real life things that you are facing in your business right now, particularly around leadership, talent, people strategy, all of those things that are often really, really challenging as small business owners and entrepreneurs. And the reason that we decided to make this shift is because we love talking about the journeys that female founders have. That's what this show is all about. That's really why I started it, because I wanted to know how these amazing women started these amazing businesses and how they got to be so awesome. That was the impetus for this podcast. Now, what we want to do is we want to continue to share those stories, share those journeys, and learn from those lessons, but really get into what is present in female-led businesses right now today, particularly around those complicated people and talent and leadership issues, right? Those are the ones that are really thorny. They cause us a lot of issues. And for many of us, we've started our business not because we wanted to be the boss, but because we really love the product or the service. We were really passionate about what we do or what we sell. And then as our business grows and we add different people to the mix, because now we need a bookkeeper, we need an accountant, we need someone to help with marketing, maybe we need that beautiful assistant to do some of those jobs that are very detail oriented, because if you're like me, you don't do details. As we start to make those teams and build those collections of humans, suddenly we have to start leading in a new way as the business owner. And that's not something that we originally set out to do. So that's what we're going to tackle on this show, is some of those issues. So I'm going to bring you guests that are experts that have real life information to offer. We're going to talk that through. Maybe I'll learn something. I hope you will too. I'm also going to bring on guests that actually have some of these issues present in their business right now. Maybe they're struggling with performance management, or how do they keep their team engaged even when it's really stressful and there's lots of work to do? We're going to workshop those things out right live on the show. We're going to talk them through. And so not only is my guest going to walk away with some real actionable strategies that they can implement in their business once the show is done, you're going to bring some of that too. You're going to have the advantage of listening in. It's going to be like you get to join me in my coaching and consulting calls. And that's really what I want for the show, is I want you to feel like you're getting the unplugged version. You're getting that bird's eye view. You're peeking in on conversations that I have with clients and in my network and with my colleagues every single day, because the truth is, I don't stop being a leadership coach and a people strategy expert, even when I'm not online. I am always talking with people as I move through my day and my week about what the challenges are in their business, what they're managing, what they're talking about, what's keeping them from really doing the work that they love to do as a business owner, where they might be the bottleneck, right? Because sometimes we actually get in the way. And so those are the kinds of things that I've invited guests to come on the show and really share with us so that we can dig into it. So these unplugged conversations, they're going to be real, they're going to be raw, they're going to be vulnerable. We're pulling back the curtain, opening the kimono, all of those things. So our business owners and our guests that come on are going to really show up in a whole new way, which I'm really excited about. I think these are the conversations that we need to get into as business owners, and we can't be afraid. And I do think that sometimes, because we really care so deeply about these businesses that we build, we love them so much, we're so passionate about the work we do, about the people we serve, about the products we sell, that we actually have a little shame around asking for help, around inviting someone in, whether it's a coach or a consultant, even sharing that we might need help with a trusted business friend or colleague can sometimes be really hard. And so that's one of the things that I hope this unplugged version of the Female Founder podcast really enables everyone to do is see that there are so many of us that actually come up against the same issues. We struggle with similar things. Now, they're going to look different in everybody's business, but the truth is that we are all in this together. And so, by having some guests come on that are really brave and really vulnerable and talk about real life issues, I hope that everyone that listens can recognize and think, oh, well, I've had something like that. It's, they talked through it. Lindsay gave her some great advice. Oh, okay. Well, it's okay that that's happening in my business, or I could see where that might be happening, or it could happen. Can I get out in front of it? Can I be proactive with it? Maybe there's something we talk about on the show that helps you do that. So that's really the idea behind creating this unplugged version so that we can go deeper, so that we can have more meaning in the conversation, so that we can really talk about not only what's at stake, not only what these women have learned in their journeys to being female entrepreneurs, not only the lessons they've learned, but also where they're at right now today and how we can work together to make our businesses grow and be really beautiful. And of course, we're framing this all in terms of people strategy. And that's an important piece in our organizations that we often miss. We talk about our business plan. We can really build beautiful business plans and the strategies that go with them. Maybe we have a marketing strategy. Maybe we have a capital plan. Maybe we have an operational strategy. But one of the things that is so often overlooked in our businesses as we grow and we're really getting ready to scale is that people strategy. How are we going to resource the growth with talent? And so that's one of the things that I really want to get into this season on Female Founder Unplugged is how do we do that? What are the pieces? How does that work together? We're also going to talk a lot about leadership because the truth is that we have to be leaders in our business. We're also leaders in our own lives. And that's where there's a really cool intersection. It's also what makes things a bit challenging being a female business owner is that we show up in 1,000 different ways every single day as a leader. And the most important way that we lead is by leading ourselves. And so we are going to explore what that self leadership looks like, how we identify our own leadership style, so that we can really embrace being authentic in our leadership. We can bring all of our best self, those superpowers that we have, to leading in our business and ultimately to leading in our whole life, because our business is only an aspect of what we do and who we are, right? We're wives, we're mothers, we're partners, we're sisters, we're aunties. And we lead in every one of those capacities. We lead in our community. Geez, when we show up and we're buying groceries and we let that person in front of us that's only got 2 items, that's leadership. Leadership is all around us. We lead every way in every day in 1,000 ways. So we're going to talk a lot about leadership on the show this year. And I think that's going to be really fun because actually it's an aspect that I've uncovered a lot of female business owners miss, right? In speaking, again, in my own network, with my colleagues, with my clients, we don't often identify as a leader, which I find really interesting. We build these beautiful businesses, we scale them, we get ready to move to the multiple 6 and 7 figure mark, and we still don't see that we are a leader in that. And so we need to change the dialogue. We need to change the context. We need to really embrace what leadership is. And I know for many of you, sometimes that word is a little bit scary. It's intimidating. Maybe you've had bad examples, right? I left my corporate job because I worked for a very toxic boss. I would never, ever want to be that. And so many of us have had that similar journey. And so we shy away from thinking about ourselves as a leader because our examples have been so atrocious, right? We don't want to be that negative influence, that command and control, that lead by power and fear person. We want to be different. And that's why I want to talk about that on the show this year, because we can lead differently. We can set a better example. We can build a better leadership style for ourselves. We're also going to talk about culture because culture is actually really important, especially in a small business. Culture sounds complicated, but the truth is it's just how we get work done together. That's really the most simplistic definition. And I think when we think about it that way, especially in our small teams, but particularly as we are really in this space of scaling. Perhaps you've got a really robust business plan and you're anticipating growth, you're seeing it, or maybe it's something that's happened very organically and you're starting to feel the burn a little bit about how the work gets done as all of this growth happens. We need to think consciously and intentionally about our cultures, how we're going to work together. What are those norms? How do we roll? Right? How do we work collectively every day so that we are all successful? And how do we create spaces and places for people to work where they feel really valued, where they feel like they belong? And that's what we want to create in our organizations. I hear that all the time from female business owners is that they want to create a culture where people feel deeply respected and valued for what they do. And when I say valued, I don't just mean monetarily. I mean that they feel intrinsically rewarded for the great work that they contribute to our organizations. And so we're going to talk a lot about culture. We're also going to talk about some of these important people programs we need to have. So I mentioned earlier things like performance management. We need to talk about feedback, how we give and receive really high quality feedback in our organizations in a really courageous way. We need to talk about compensation. How do we design reward programs for people so that they feel really valued? And I know in many organizations, budget is really important, but we can do this in a way that's really meaningful. We need to talk about recruitment. That's a big topic for most of us. How do we find and attract and get those talented people into our business? Right? Recruitment is a huge issue as we really think about what is the talent that we want? Who do we need? What are the skills and experience? But also, what's the fit? Right? Who are these people that are going to really enhance our organization, not just get work done? Right? Well, and of course, if we're going to think about who we're bringing into the business, we need to talk about how we get them on board and up to speed really quickly and how we really keep them engaged, right? How do we keep them motivated? All of that stuff is a beautiful ecosystem in our small organizations. And the truth is, we don't have to be complex in the way we design these pieces. We just need to be intentional. We need to think about it carefully. And that's where we need to start thinking as a CEO, right? That's next level. And of course, that's really challenging for many of us as we are responsible for a great deal of the work that gets done in our organizations. Now, some of that work we should be doing, some of it we probably shouldn't be. So we're going to talk about, things like that. How do we delegate? How do we get out from underneath the tactical work so we can be more strategic? What does it even mean to be a CEO? Right? We sometimes use those letters, but I'm not sure that we really are acting like chief executive officers. So these are all great topics that we are going to tackle on the Female Founder Unplugged podcast this season. And as you can tell, I am absolutely thrilled. We have some great guests coming on the show with great experience and expertise they're going to share, with great stories to share, with great topics that we're going to dig into. So this season is going to be really powerful. It's going to be really fun and engaging. It's also going to go deeper than we've ever gone before, which again, for me is absolutely what I want to do. So I hope that you will subscribe, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't listened before, I would love it if you would go back. We have over 150 episodes to listen to, some incredible women in business that you will want to hear what they have to say. They share their journey so beautifully. You want to go back, listen to the back catalog, hit save so that you can refer to them over again. And please, if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star review and share this podcast with your business besties. We have a mission here at Female Founder Unplugged to impact 1,000 women every season. And so we need you to help us do that, get this show out to 1,000 women who can really benefit from listening to others and just knowing that there's a community here. And I think that's one of the most important parts about the show over the last 3 years. We've created a community, and that has been absolutely critical. We've created incredible connections. So please follow us, like the show, send a review, share it with someone else. All of those things will help this podcast grow, and it will help create that community and just foster that incredible conversation. Thanks again for being with me today, and I cannot wait to do this season 4 journey of the Female Founder Unplugged show with you this year. Stay tuned for awesomeness. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I did hosting this conversation. I feel so lucky that I get to connect with such amazing female entrepreneurs. And if you enjoyed today's session, would you do me a big favor? Would you hit subscribe and give this episode a 5-star review? I'd also love it if you would share with your friends. We've got a goal here at the Female Founder Unplugged podcast to impact 1,000 female founders. And with your help, we can really amplify the message. Thanks again for being a part of the show. And don't forget to connect with me at highvoltageleadership.ca. We'll see you next week.